They want you to stay distracted. Seriously. They need you to be too busy with the rush, with your feed, with the small urgencies of the day. Because if you stop for 10 seconds and really look, you'll notice something you weren't supposed to notice. And once you see that, there's no going back. It's like putting on glasses that no one else wears. You start to see gaps in the system, doors ajar, loopholes that most people ignore, but which, for those with eagle vision, are true portals to freedom. But there's one detail. This kind of vision isn't born with us. It's trained. It's sculpted in pain, in curiosity, in the silent rebellion of those who refuse to accept that life is all bills, annoying bosses, and gray Mondays. Have you ever felt that? Like a feeling that something's wrong in the air, but no one talks about it? I've started to feel that little by little. First came that nagging question. Why are there people earning $50,000 a month just with their cell phones, while I'm here sweating to pay off my credit card? Then came the bigger issue. Am I blind? Is there something passing in front of me, and I just can't see it? That's when this metaphor came to me. Most people live with chicken vision. Yes, chicken. They only see what's on the ground, what's nearby, what's already been chewed by someone. They peck around, follow the flock, eat what's thrown to them. Now an eagle? The eagle is up there. It soars above everything. It sees patterns. It sees what no one else sees. But, and this is the craziest part, eagle vision has nothing to do with intelligence, or a degree, or being born rich. It has to do with mental clarity, with the ability to break out of autopilot and start seeing the game behind the game. And if you ignore this, if you continue to look at life with the same old eyes, the same way everyone else does, your mind will continue to be manipulated. You will continue chasing money, while others create invisible, almost secret sources of income, just because they've developed a new way of seeing. Now, let me tell you something I've never told you before, because this turning point happened to me in a very strange way. It was an ordinary day, nothing special, apparently. But that day, I saw something so simple, so small, that it made me realize I'd been blind for years. And no, it wasn't a book. It wasn't a motivational video. It was something everyone else overlooked, and I would have too, if my mind hadn't been prepared to see differently. But before I tell you what it was, you need to understand why most people live with blurred vision. Why they can't see opportunities, even when they're being shouted at. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. Have you ever noticed how we get used to discomfort? Like, it seems like being tired has become the new normal. You wake up to your alarm clock blaring, drag yourself to the bathroom, cold water hitting your face, and the first thing you feel is not the will to live. It's heaviness, an invisible heaviness, as if the world had dropped a bag of cement on your chest while you were sleeping. Then you go to work, or open the computer, who knows? And everything is on autopilot. The coffee always has the same bitter taste. The chair makes the same annoying creaking sound. Your cell phone vibrates, but you don't even want to look at it, because there comes the bill. There comes the bill. There comes that message you don't want to reply to, but you have to. And deep down, there's a voice inside whispering, it wasn't supposed to be like this, was it? But you ignore it, because that's what we've learned to do. Swallow the discomfort, smiling on the outside and sinking on the inside. You pretend everything's fine. You say, "How are you?" in the elevator. You laugh at jokes in the group. You post an old photo on Instagram to make it look like life is going well. But inside, there's an emptiness, a deafening silence. Have you ever felt this? It's strange, right? Because it feels like everyone is pretending along. Everyone's going in circles. Traffic, grocery store, Netflix, Monday, Friday, Sunday night with that nameless anguish. That feeling that time is passing and you're stuck. And then comes the comparison. You see that guy who started with less than you, and now he's flying. Or that woman who dropped everything, took a chance on an online business, and is living in a place with an ocean view. And you think, what am I doing wrong? Why does everything seem so stuck to me? I know. I've been there. I've been the person who humiliated themselves for a raise, who swallowed a toad, who lived in fear of being fired. I've stood in front of the mirror wondering if I was born to fail. And it's hard to say that out loud, you know? Because we don't want to seem weak. But the truth is, it's full of people who are strong on the outside and broken on the inside. People with incredible potential, but with blurred vision. And that's why I'm recording this video. Not to motivate you, not to give you another pretty speech, but to show you something that helped me break out of this cycle. A subtle change, but one that changes everything. Because when you change the way you see, the world begins to reorganize itself. Doors that seemed locked begin to unlock, but not because they changed, because you changed your perspective. And before I show you how this happened to me, I want to remind you of a scene. Close your eyes for a second, or imagine it with, you're standing at a bus stop, late afternoon, orange sun melting in the sky. You're sweaty, hungry, thinking about everything you didn't do that day. A nice car passes by, with someone your age driving. You look, and that thought comes without asking permission. Did I miss the timing of life? Yeah, that question haunted me. It made me doubt myself. But what I didn't know is that the answer was never out of place. It was never about the car, the salary, or the followers. It was about the perspective, about learning to see things from above, like an eagle. And that's when my life changed. But the most bizarre thing? It was because of a ridiculous scene, in a place where no one would see anything special. But I saw it, and that's where it all began. It was in a line. Yes, the line. Those trivial things we don't even pay attention to. I was waiting to pay for a coffee at one of those self-service machines, you know? It was an ordinary day, like any other. But there, at that moment, something exploded inside. In front of me, there was a guy, sweaty dress shirt, staring at his phone with a frown. I could see the desperation seeping through his shoulders. He was shaking slightly, trying to choose the cheapest option. He grabbed a small coffee. That was it. And I stood there, still, watching. And suddenly, I saw myself in him. It was as if someone had shoved a mirror in my face. I saw myself in that tension, in that tired look, in that empty rush of someone who's always running, without knowing where to. And it was in that instant that something collapsed inside me. It was as if time stood still. Everything was silent, even with the people around me moving, talking, living. But inside my head, a phrase came that seemed to scream, "Is this what you call living?" It tore me apart. And the worst part? I had no answer. I felt angry, but I also felt ashamed. I felt sorry for myself, and at the same time, an absurd urge to get up and punch the world. It was as if an animal had awakened inside me, an animal that had been caged for too long, and now, for the first time, opened its eyes. It was a crazy paradox. I was so sad, and at the same time, relieved. Because for the first time, I understood that the problem wasn't the outside world. It was the lens I used to see this world. You know that feeling when you have dirty glasses and don't even realize it? You just get used to blurry vision, until one day you clean the lens and see everything with absurd clarity. That was it. There, in that line, with cheap coffee, cold white light, the smell of stale bread, and a sputtering card machine. I woke up, and the question hammering in my head changed tone. It was no longer, why is this happening to me? Now it was, how did I let this happen for so long? And along with that question came the spark, the almost insane desire to break out of that cycle, to break the patterns, to train my eyes to see what no one else sees. Because, in that moment, I understood something brutal. Freedom doesn't start with money. It starts with vision. He who sees first wins first. He who sees invisible opportunities dominates the game while others are still on the wrong board. But to do that, you need to break the obvious. You need to break out of your trance. Break away from everything you've been taught about success, career, and effort. You need to look up. And that's where what truly changed my life comes in. A technique, simple, yet brutally effective, that trained me to see like an eagle. That's what turned my corner. And if you'll let me, I'll show you how it works. But only if you have the courage to see the world through different eyes. After that day, I couldn't live on autopilot anymore. It was as if everything around me was screaming, "Wake up!" The noises that were once just noise became signals. The conversations around me, the videos that appeared on my feed, people's small behaviors. Everything seemed to be trying to show me something. And then came the conflict. Because at the same time that I started to see opportunities where no one else did, I also started to realize the price of seeing too much. Yes, there's a price. Because when you start to see like an eagle, you also see the invisible chains on others' legs. You see people you love, trapped in debt, trapped in fear, trapped in the false sense of security of a steady salary that barely covers the month. And then comes the dilemma. You try to talk, you try to show, but no one wants to listen. Oh, this is a scam. You're tripping. I prefer stability. Stability, that word they used as if it were a prize. But in reality, it's just another gold-painted cage. And that's when I had to make a choice that maybe you have to make too. Keep trying to fit in, or accept that you were born to see things differently. Pause. Breathe. It seems like it ends here, right? But no, because now comes the hardest part, the most painful, the most liberating. You'll have to decide, this very day, which vision you'll carry from now on. The chickens or the eagles. You can continue living on the ground, pecking at crumbs, following the flock, waiting for the next chance to make it in a world where everything was programmed for you to obey. Or you can climb. Silence. But there's one detail no one tells you. Climbing hurts. It hurts because you'll leave people behind. You'll lose friendships. You'll be called crazy. You'll feel alone. But also, you'll see what no one else sees. You'll access paths that seem invisible, and you'll, for the first time, experience the taste of true freedom. And you know what's most curious? The opportunity that can change everything is already passing before you, right now, as you listen to this. But only those with trained vision can see it. So I ask you, are you really willing to see? Because if you are, in the next video, I'll show you exactly how to get started, but only if you're ready to never be blind again. There are people who live their entire lives inside a cage, with the door open, and the saddest thing is that they don't even realize it, because they've become so accustomed to the ground that they've forgotten what the sky is like. Maybe you've forgotten too, but the sky has never stopped being there. The only difference between those who fly and those who crawl is the courage to look up. So, tell me something, and think carefully before you answer. What are you still pretending you don't see? It's strange, I know, but you'll probably come back here later. Maybe in a week. Maybe when the next opportunity passes and you feel that discomfort in your chest again. Or maybe when you finally decide to spread your wings.